This is the briefing for Monday, May 9th. In the weekend briefing, I talked about a hitch, and I think I made that word up just for that briefing. But basically, I talked about the indices being extremely oversold, and you can see this is Friday's trading. We were at an extreme compared to where we've been in previous days. But I talked about the fact that I've seen before with this indicator that you see an extreme oversold condition and then you get a pause or some type of rotation up and you get this indicator starts to move out of an extreme condition, and then you get a hitch right here where you see this move to the downside which occurred on Friday, and then you get a real thrust lower, and that's exactly what happened in today's trading. And you can see that we reached an even more extreme oversold condition in the NYSE and also in the Nasdaq. And you can see that little hitch in the Nasdaq that occurred as well. So basically, we are reached a point of being very extremely oversold today. And that was a result of the internals of the market being extremely weak in today's trading. Now, while I'm on this chart, this is net volume, up volume minus down volume for the NYSE, and this is for the Nasdaq. And you can see the trend in volume. We had a few up days where net volume was positive, but you can see that we really have reached a point of being extremely negative in terms of net volume. And this is something that I have not seen in quite some time. This is the Nasdaq net volume, up volume minus down volume. It was really at an extreme in today's trading. There was just a lot of selling in the Nasdaq. Moving on to total volume, you can see that total volume is beginning to increase, and that certainly is supporting the move to the downside, and it really exploded and expanded in the Nasdaq. This is total volume for the Nasdaq in today's trading. So basically at the open today, it was very interesting because breadth opened at an extreme negative condition. And you can see that right through here. This is NYSE breadth. I think it opened at about 2,500 or 2,400 shares negative. And the same thing with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq opened very negative. In fact, I can't remember any time in the near term seeing Nasdaq breadth negative 3,400 shares, which is what it was in today's trading. Now, we did get somewhat of a move to the downside, a gap down in all of the indices, and then somewhat of a pause before or I should say a pause that leaned to the downside. And then of course we got this selling that came in going into the close. Now, what's important going forward is we have traded and closed substantially now below, maybe substantially is too strong of a word, but we've closed well below this 415 support area, which is now resistance, very important resistance area. And you can see how the traders tried to keep it from sliding lower on this day as they came in and started buying to drive it back up to 415. And the same thing happened in Friday's trading, not quite getting to the 415 level. You can see the spiders, volume increasing, breadth falling off. This is a negative reading on the 52-week highs minus 52-week lows. Really haven't seen that except going all the way back close to it to January 24th. That's this area right through here. Once again, net volume on the spiders extremely negative at the end of the day today. The Nasdaq, similar situation. Nasdaq breadth opened up extremely negative, 3,400 shares at the end of the day, closed near the low of the day, which the spiders did not. Spiders had somewhat of a buying opportunity going into the close. And then of course the Russell, same thing, closing near the low of the day and well below its support area, right around the 188 area. Nasdaq resistance now, I should say not support, but resistance now comes in right around the 320. I'm going to call it really 315 or 310 up to about the 320 level for resistance in the Qs. So basically for tomorrow's trading, it's going to be a little bit mixed, mainly because one, we're at an extreme oversold condition. Two, we have the spiders or the S&P closing off slightly off of its low. We have the Nasdaq and the Russell closing at its low. And also finally, we have the Dow Industrials and the Dow Transports diverging. Now, this is the industrials. You can see that it is now trading and closed below the February 24th sell-off, but the transports have not followed yet. So you can see this is where the industrials are testing. Transports are not quite there yet. Now, my transports don't update until later tonight, but this red line is approximately where the transports closed in today's trading. I think it's right around the 14,470 level for the transports. So a little bit of intermarket divergences that are occurring, at least going into the close today. So basically what I'm looking for, and if you remember from previous briefings, I talked about this many times, especially after the February 24th low right here in the indices. They all had a pretty good selling day, but then it reversed pretty much. But I did not feel that this was a capitulation move, and that low would be tested and that potentially taken out. And that was a difficult strategy to hang on to, especially during this rally here. But it just did not appear that this was a capitulation move, and I'm still looking for a capitulation move. Now, we could have gotten close to that in today's trading, I think, if we'd seen a larger move in terms of price development to the downside. So for tomorrow, basically, this market could capitulate tomorrow. That's something we're just going to have to see what happens and see what kind of information the market gives us at the open tomorrow. But I have to also be aware of the fact that we are at an extreme oversold condition and that we have to expect some type of pause or rotation back to the upside. Key, if we do get a lower low and breadth readings are stronger than they were in today's trading, that's going to give you an indication that we're going to see a lower low and then potential rotation back to the upside. That's a pretty common event to occur in the indices. We close near the low of the day, you get the following day follow through to that, but breadth and the other internals are a little bit stronger, and then you get a rotation back up to work off that oversold condition. So it's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow. If we do get a capitulation move, it will be very interesting. I really think it's a very low probability, but I have to hold that out as a possibility. Have a great night, and should be another very interesting day tomorrow.